This one. I got mad when I read this one. I'm going to tell you that in advance. It says, hey, I would love your thoughts on this. I just found out my wife is helping one of her girlfriends test her new boyfriend. She's basically catfishing this guy with fake Instagram and Facebook profiles with sexy profile pictures that aren't her to see how loyal he is. I only found out about this when I saw she was logged into this profile and asked her what it was. My wife was honest with what it was, but I still feel weird about the whole thing. I don't like that my wife is involved in this. She's writing these flirty messages to him to see if and how he responds so she can show her girlfriend. I understand this kind of stuff happens, but didn't think my wife would stoop to this level. I even told her that, and she said it's no big deal, and she's just helping out her friend. I don't like this test, and I wondered if I am overreacting. And if I'm not, how do I communicate to her that this isn't cool? Do other women do this? Does it work? Thank you so much, Darren and Heath. Yes, I slammed my fist on the counter.
Sure did.
$1.
I'm happy to put that dollar in there. You know how I feel about head games, man, and this
happens all the time.
All the time?
Absolutely.
For real.
Yeah. If you, at least for younger girls it does. You'll have a friend, if you tell your friend you met someone, they'll Facebook the hell out of them and Google them and everything else. So just to see who's on the level or whatnot. This happens more often than you think it does.
There is a gal I follow on TikTok. You can hire her to try to trap your boyfriend.
To trap?
Yeah, it's like a loyalty test.
Yeah.
So, and you can hire this girl, and she's really good at it. She posts the interactions between her and this, whoever hires her's boyfriend. And the one she posts, they always take the bait. Now, I would say, if you feel like you need to hire a third party to test your boyfriend, then you already have your answer.
Yeah, and I feel like we're at the stage where if you're going to meet someone and start dating them for the first time, you might as well show up with a recent pay stub, your financial statements, your medical history, and, any criminal background check just in advance so you can just hand that off.
Well, I can't imagine you're doing this when you first meet someone. You're not, you're not in a committed relationship at that point.
Right.
So
these are people who are thinking about getting engaged, but they're just not sure.
Oh. Well, if you're that much in love with the guy and he's never, ever given you... Now, if he's given you a reason to suspect, I kind of understand why you want to find out. But if you have not... If there's no reason that you have been given and you're in love with this guy, you're making a mistake, at least as far as I'm concerned, because if I find out that you did that, I'm done with you. I am not putting up with that kind of game and you pulling that kind of crap on me.
Yeah, but it's not that you, per se, gave her a reason. She might need it for her own mental... If she's been cheated on before, if all of her friends have been cheated on.
Not my problem.
It's not your problem, but I'm just telling you... I'm letting you inside the female mind for a second. I don't even know how I got here.
I don't know. You can take this and the bird test and walk on down the road.
But this happens more frequently. I mean, you're happily married and have been so for a while, so you've never dealt with this. But anybody who's in
127 years.
Right. Anyone who's in the current dating world will tell you this is probably far more common than you think it is.
All
it's
right.
happening on a
obviously,
regular.
If you can hire people to do it, yeah, it must be a business.
You don't think the first thing people do, which is why I remember when Tiger Woods cheated on the porn star with the porn star, and she was like, I had no idea who he was. BS. Your ass went home and Googled him, especially if you're floating, or if you're around a guy that's floating that much money and has that much security around him. You Googled him to figure out who he is. If that's happening on Tiger Woods' level, and you meet somebody out at the bar one night, you're going to search him on Facebook. You're going to search him on...
Yeah, sure, I get that.
So you're going to find the, wait a minute, he was out with you on Thursday, he was with this other girl Wednesday.
That's fine. And to me, that's acceptable.
Okay.
Of course, you want to know about somebody before you get too heavily involved with them. I get that. But putting somebody up to lying to them and scamming them, and as
hey, your friend...
How did you put it? Trying to trap them?
Yeah.
It's a trap game. Your friend is going, hey, ask him out and see if he takes the bait. Because she wants that reinforcement that if the friend asks him out, he's going to go, I'm really into somebody right now. I got to pass, but thank you. That's what she wants him to say. And if he doesn't say that, if he says, yeah, we can have lunch because lunch is harmless. Then all of a sudden she's like, oh, see, I told you. He's a cheater.
Now, let me throw this at you. Here's the problem I would have in this situation if I'm Darren and Heath. That my wife is catfishing another guy.
Boom.
For her friend. Now, but the thing is, your own wife is in communication with another man trying to get him to fall for her. Like, I feel like that is crossing a line in your relationship. Like, I know you're just faking it out for your friend, but you're also really in real communication with another man. And I don't know what you're saying or what you're doing to get him to fall for you, but there is some real communication there, even though it's just fake. I would not like that if my husband was doing that to try to trap another gal for a buddy of his. I wouldn't like for him trading messages with another woman.
And I see what you're saying. I kind of the fact that if it was my wife, the fact that she was doing that in the way you're talking about it wouldn't bother me so much if they're using a different name and different pictures. Like, it's not them.
But they're still communicating.
I know.
It's still them.
I know. But my point is that person's not going to know who my wife actually is.
No, but I'm saying on your behalf, wouldn't that bother you if Heather was communicating with another guy and saying like sexy things to him and trying to get him to fall for her? Like, there's a weird dynamic there that I wouldn't like.
I can say from experience, and I could actually talk about this today because she's in Utah and there's not a chance in hell she's going to hear this conversation because it's going to bring up
online.
She's not. It's going to bring up a bad memory that I don't really want to revisit personally. There was a time when I was accused of doing something I wouldn't, and let me tell you, for the hell that I went through, I wish I would have, because at least maybe then there would have been some measure of reward out of it. But I had a girl that worked in the office that I did that took a picture of me hugging a girl that I thought was innocent. And then it turns out that this girl had a thing for me that I didn't know about, but turned around and took messages out of context and sent them to Lauren and made it look like something was happening that wasn't happening. And I went through 3 months of hell over it because of it. This kind of thing happens all the time. It's especially in today's social media world where everybody's got a camera and everybody thinks they know.
I feel like there aren't very many circumstances in which a third party should interfere.
Correct.
In the relationship of two people. If there's abuse, maybe that's an excuse. That's a reason. But other than that, it's like never a good idea to meddle in somebody else's relationship.
Dr. Dennis said the wife's flying her inner freak flag. Danielle is absolutely with you, Kelly. She doesn't like that, somebody in a committed relationship is messaging behind.
Yeah, I don't like that. Even though it's like meant to be fake and on behalf of somebody else and all, I don't like the fact that that's going on.
Now, I can agree there because your wife is doing a little something shady on the side that you might not agree with. I can see that.
It's shady in two ways.
Yes.
I get it.
But I'm just saying the overall process of quote-unquote screening new dates, that is happening more often than you want to believe.
And listen, this gal can catfish her own guy. She doesn't need somebody else to do it.
That's the other thing is if you're, the wife is
fake.
So now that leads me to Chris's text. Is what if the wife's lying? How about she is really flirting with somebody under an alias so she can keep it covered up? Did you ever think of that,
Now
Darren?
It's a party.
Oh, Darren, I'm sorry to throw that at you, but
your wife might be getting a little side action.
It's just not on the up and up here. Like that, I would have a problem with it, and I feel for Darren. I do think that you're not getting, you're not being too touchy here. That's something to be worried about. Worried is too strong. It's something to take issue with.
Well, if the wife's being honest and she's not, messing around, and she's really doing that for a friend, he said, how do I communicate to her that this isn't cool? Because that's what I think. And I feel bad for the guy. And I want to tell the guy, get away from that girl because she's got my wife doing this to you.
Here's what we need to do that we never do. And a lot of it has to do with minding our own business. If you're dating someone new and I'm around them and I get a bad vibe or something that I'm not sure about with that person, I feel like it's my duty as a friend to go, there's something about them that doesn't sit right with me, but I'm not the one dating them. That's on you. I think you speak your point so that it's heard, and then you let whatever happen. Maybe you're wrong and they end up in 20 years of married bliss, or maybe you were 100% right and 6 months later you're like, yeah, I tried to tell you. You can say that, but you can't go as far as to, like, manifest it. You know what I mean? Does that make any kind of sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. No meddling.
Yes.
I would go so far as to say, unless somebody asks your opinion on their relationship, you don't need to give it. If somebody asks you what you think, now, if you saw him robbing a bank or something, I'd probably come forward with that.
Well, yeah, if he's breaking a law, if you went, hey, wait a minute, I know this guy. He was in an embezzlement. My friend worked with him. He was an embezzlement scam, or, he's a violent, he beat up his last girlfriend. Then, okay, cool, red flags. But if you just, not everybody meshes with everybody.
Sean said Darren's wife should mind her own business. Well, I mean, her friend made it her business, but yeah, I still agree with that. Matt said same thing. If his wife used other people's names and pictures, why couldn't the girlfriend just do that herself? And that's what makes me think there's something else going on there.
Well, I'm just saying there is something called the thrill of the chase, I mean, and everybody has experienced it when you're first dating someone or you're first, you're into somebody and you're sort of trying to see if something will work out. Darren's wife is experiencing a level of the thrill of the chase there, which is inappropriate in a marriage.
Okay.
I mean, inappropriate when you're married to someone else.
So she's getting to do that.
Yeah, she's getting the thrill of the chase, but she's married to somebody else. I don't like it.
You know what we need to do? We need to start a frat for older guys. That way we can get together and we can kind of live out college fantasies but still go home to our wives, where we never cheat, but we just get the idea of, partying with younger girls and hanging out with younger girls, and then we go home.
Oh, that's like a really great idea, Lewis.
Kelly, remind me
nothing could go wrong with that.
Remind me not to hang out with him outside work.
We'll get a frat house, and what we'll do is we'll have one guy, we'll call him the Godfather, because he'll start the frat.
I like being married, so yeah, no. We got another text. What if the roles were reversed? If he did that for one of his buddies and was flirting with some girl, you're telling me she'd be okay with it? Hell no.
Kyle brings up a good point, too. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of people who have used the word manipulation, and I agree. Thank you, Charlene, for realizing I was talking about old school.
But read Kyle's text. It's a good one. He said two women being that okay with manipulating a man is a massive red flag.
And that's my point.
That's what I was going to say, because I was going to say Heather also brought up the manipulative side of it. So they're starting a relationship by playing games.
Yeah, I hate head games. No thanks. Again, they're for high school, and that's where I left them.
When we start our frat and we have gelatin wrestling night, T5, Todd the Tenacious Tower Tech, you're my boy, Blue.
Because I won't be there.